There are celebrities. And then there's whatever planet Taylor Swift is operating from right now. Cities prepare like they're hosting the Super Bowl. Stadiums crash ticketing systems. The economy spikes because she breathes in a new zip code. And online, fans are decoding every outfit, every lyric, every eyebrow raise like she's running a secret intelligence agency. But here's the wild part. Experts say what's happening around Taylor right now has never happened in modern music history. Not even close. And the moment she's in, it might be the peak or the start of something even crazier. Right now, Taylor Swift isn't just trending. She's shifting the entire entertainment economy. The Eras Tour is on track to become the first tour in human history to cross $1 billion. In city after city, hotels hit capacity, restaurants run out of food, and mayors publicly thank her for boosting local revenue. Something that barely happens for actual global events. And then she did something even more insane. Turned a concert into a full-blown blockbuster. The Eras Tour movie shattered box office records before opening weekend even ended, with theaters turning into glitter-filled karaoke nights, fans dressed like it's Halloween in July. Meanwhile, her Taylor's version re-recordings keep debuting at #1, pushing older versions off the charts. A move music executives once said would never work. The internet can't stop talking. Viral clips, rain shows, surprise songs, emotional reactions. Taylor practically owns every social feed. Even the NFL saw viewership spikes every time she popped up in a VIP box. That's not normal celebrity power, that's cultural gravity. But here's the thing, this still isn't the full story. Because behind all the hype, there's a strategic machine at work. One that even the industry wasn't prepared for. And we're just getting started. To understand how Taylor reached this level of cultural gravity, selling out stadiums, shifting economies, and dominating every corner of the internet, you have to rewind to a place that feels almost impossible compared to where she is today. A quiet Christmas tree farm in Pennsylvania. Taylor Allison Swift was born on December 13, 1989, in Reading, Pennsylvania. She grew up surrounded by animals, wide-open fields, and a family that didn't come from the entertainment world at all, but somehow recognized the spark in her before anyone else. Her dad, Scott, worked in finance. Her mom, Andrea, worked in marketing. But more importantly, they saw Taylor's work ethic and fearlessness long before the world did. Music hit early. Taylor absorbed the storytelling power of artists like Shania Twain, Faith Hill, and the Dixie Chicks, women who blended melody with narrative. And by age 10, she wasn't just singing. She was chasing opportunity. Local shows, talent contests, and at age 11, she stepped onto the court at a Philadelphia 76ers game to sing the national anthem. A moment that hinted at something bigger. But everything truly shifted the day Taylor discovered songwriting. She didn't just want to perform. She wanted to create, tell stories, turn her life into lyrics. Then came the realization that would change everything. If she wanted a real shot, she needed to be in Nashville. So at just 11 years old, Taylor walked into Music Row with a demo CD and was rejected by every single label. Every one. But instead of breaking her, it lit a fire. Her determination after that trip was so undeniable that her parents made a life-altering decision. The Swifts moved to Hendersonville, Tennessee, just outside Nashville, so Taylor could be closer to the heart of country music. And she didn't waste a second. She started writing with local songwriters, absorbing everything she could. Her talent evolved fast. And at 14, she became one of the youngest artists ever signed to a development deal with Sony/ATV. That alone would have been impressive, but the real turning point came when she met Scott Borchetta, a former DreamWorks executive starting a brand new label called Big Machine Records. He took a gamble on Taylor, and Taylor took a gamble on him. In 2006, her debut single Tim McGraw dropped, and it worked. Then the debut album arrived. Radio stations, country festivals, award nominations, a slow, steady climb. But her real breakthrough came with a song she wrote in 9th grade, Teardrops on My Guitar, cracked the mainstream, pulled her beyond country radio, and introduced America to something new. A teenage songwriter turning real emotions into chart-topping power. And from that moment on, everything started accelerating. Because this wasn't just the rise of a new artist. This was the beginning of a storyteller who would soon reshape the entire music industry. Taylor's rise was fast, but it wasn't smooth. Because just as she was becoming one of the most promising young artists in America, one single moment would catapult her into a level of fame and scrutiny she never asked for. It happened in 2009 at the MTV Video Music Awards. Taylor had just won Best Female Video for You Belong With Me, becoming the first country artist to ever win a VMA in that category. She walked on stage emotional, shocked, and then the moment that would follow her for years happened. Kanye West jumped on stage, took the microphone, and said Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time.
Taylor, I'm really happy for you. I'm gonna let you finish. But Beyoncé had one of the best videos of all time.
Millions watched Taylor freeze in real time. A teenager blindsided on one of the biggest stages in pop culture. The clip ran everywhere. News outlets replayed it nonstop. Social media turned it into a cultural flashpoint. And even though Beyoncé later brought Taylor back to finish her speech, the damage to Taylor's image had already begun. Because unintentionally, that night split public opinion. Over the next few years, Taylor faced growing waves of criticism. As her fame expanded, the media labeled her calculating, joked about her dating life, and questioned her songwriting motives. Headlines overshadowed her music. Online jokes became constant. It was the first time she felt the weight of being too famous and too visible. But nothing could prepare her for 2016. A new chapter in the Kanye saga resurfaced. Leaked audio clips, social media battles, and narratives that spread faster than the truth. Taylor Swift is over trended worldwide. Comment sections turned brutal. People who once defended her suddenly switched sides. And for the first time in her life, Taylor disappeared. No red carpets, no interviews, no award shows, just total silence. A silence that worried fans and delighted critics. But behind the scenes, she was building something massive. Her comeback arrived in 2017 with Reputation, a darker, sharper, bolder version of Taylor Swift. She turned controversy into an album, public humiliation into art, and criticism into a weapon. And the world responded. The Reputation Stadium Tour became the highest-grossing tour in U.S. history at the time. The same people who said she was over, she outsold them all. But a new battle was waiting around the corner. In 2019, news broke that Scooter Braun had acquired Big Machine label group, and with it, the masters of Taylor's first 6 albums. Taylor revealed she tried to buy them, but couldn't agree to the terms. Fans erupted. The internet exploded again, this time in her defense. And what happened next completely reshaped the music industry. Taylor announced she would re-record her entire early catalog, creating the now iconic Taylor's Version albums. The industry doubted it. Re-recordings were not supposed to chart. They were not supposed to outperform originals. But hers did. Fearless, Red, Speak Now, 1989. All debuted at #1. All broke records. All turned into global moments. Fans embraced them like brand new releases because to them it wasn't just music anymore. It was ownership. It was principle. It was history being rewritten in real time. And for Taylor, it became a turning point. She wasn't just a superstar anymore. She was a strategist, a businesswoman, and an artist redefining the rules from the inside out. But what came next, what she created after reclaiming her voice, launched her into a completely new era. One that nobody, not even her critics, could have predicted. The controversies, the feuds, the public meltdowns, none of it stopped her. In fact, everything Taylor survived in Part 3 did something unexpected. It gave her clarity, purpose, a new direction. Because once she took back control of her art with Taylor's Version, she stopped reacting to the industry and started rewriting it. This is the era where Taylor Swift didn't just rise again. She built an empire, and it begins with the most obvious piece of that empire, the Eras Tour. This wasn't just a tour, it became an economic force. Analysts estimate it's the first tour in history to cross the $1 billion mark, with projections nearing $2 billion by the end. Cities reported hotel shortages. Restaurants hit capacity for days. Transit systems saw spikes comparable to championship games. Economists even gave it a name, the Swift effect. And because Taylor owns an enormous share of her tour revenue, the Eras Tour alone pushed her into a financial category almost no artist has ever touched. Some estimates suggest she earns over $10 million per show, a number only a handful of artists in history have approached. But for Taylor, that was only one chapter. The re-recordings were the real business revolution. All strengthened her ownership of her legacy. Taylor didn't just reclaim her art. She doubled the value of her catalog, created new fan-led demand, and built a business model artists now study in universities. Meanwhile, her new music broke records of its own. Folklore and Evermore, surprise releases in the middle of a pandemic, dominated the charts. Midnights became a global takeover, with Taylor becoming the first artist in history to occupy all top 10 spots on the Billboard Hot 100 at once. And then there's the merch, one of the most overlooked parts of her empire. Eras Tour merch lines wrapped around stadiums for hours. Exclusive drops sold out instantly. Industry estimates say tour merchandise alone generated hundreds of millions, a revenue stream most artists never even come close to. Even her brand partnerships, which she rarely does, became massive when they happened. Over the years, she has signed multimillion-dollar deals with brands like Diet Coke, Apple Music, Keds, and Capital One. And because she seldom does endorsements, her market value is even higher. Marketing analysts estimate that a single Taylor Swift endorsement deal can reach 8 figures easily, putting her in the same league as the world's biggest athletes. And then there's social media, another source of enormous influence. With hundreds of millions of followers across platforms, experts estimate that a single sponsored post from Taylor could be worth well into the 6-figure to 7-figure range, though she rarely uses her platforms for paid promotions. Her scarcity makes the value even higher. And behind all this is her real estate, an empire of its own. A Tribeca penthouse. Another Tribeca unit she combined into one massive complex. A Rhode Island mansion. A Nashville estate. A Beverly Hills home. Altogether, her property portfolio is reportedly worth over $100 million. And growing. All these pieces finally came together in 2023, when Forbes made it official. Taylor Swift is a billionaire. And unlike nearly every list, she didn't do it through cosmetics, fashion brands, or tech companies. She did it through music, songwriting, touring, ownership. She became the first female artist in history to become a self-made billionaire strictly through music alone. The girl who once walked into Nashville holding a demo CD now controls one of the most powerful empires in entertainment. But the story doesn't end with wealth. Because after she rebuilt her image, reclaimed her masters, and built a global business machine, Taylor entered the most creatively surprising era of her entire life. For all the records, all the business moves, and all the history Taylor rewrote, there's one part of her story that matters more than anything else. Because an empire, even one as massive as hers, means nothing without the people who hold it up. And for Taylor Swift, that's always been the fans. The Swifties. A global community unlike anything pop culture has ever seen. After rebuilding her career, reclaiming her art, and redefining the music industry, Taylor entered an era that no one could have predicted. A creative and emotional renaissance fueled by millions of people who saw themselves in her work. And nowhere is that connection more visible than inside an Eras Tour stadium. Walk through those gates at once. There are viral videos of fans crying before she even sings a note, others screaming lyrics from memories they thought they'd forgotten, and whole sections glowing with handmade bracelets, LED outfits, and inside jokes only Swifties understand. The friendship bracelet trend became its own phenomenon, a symbol of unity. People traded them in airports, hotels, parking lots, coffee shops. Celebrities, athletes, influencers, everyone joined in. It turned her tour into something bigger than music, a global ritual. And the dedication? It's unmatched. Fans lined up hours, sometimes days, before shows. In South America, people camped outside venues. In the US, hotel lobbies filled with bracelet meetups. Everywhere Taylor arrived, local communities formed instantly around her. Online, it grew into something even larger. Every night of the tour, millions refreshed their feeds waiting to see the surprise songs. Outfit breakdowns trended. Lyric interpretations trended. Even the smallest moments, a smile, a laugh, a lyric swap, exploded across TikTok and Twitter within minutes. And this devotion isn't shallow. People tattoo her lyrics, her symbols, her song titles, whole arms filled with the eras that shaped their lives. From Selena Gomez and Post Malone to Keith Urban and Hayley Williams, have publicly praised her generosity, her work ethic, and the emotional honesty in her writing. And that's the real secret behind her longevity. Taylor Swift writes about real feelings in a way that somehow stays personal, even when millions are listening. And that's why Taylor Swift isn't just successful. She is beloved. Her fans don't just support her career. They move with it. They shape it. They create traditions, trends, and communities around every album and every era. Taylor gives them stories, and they give her a movement. And now, after albums that redefined genres, tours that boosted economies, re-recordings that changed artist rights, and a fandom that grew stronger through every storm, Taylor Swift stands as something incredibly rare. A performer with stadium-sized ambition. A songwriter whose words cross generations. A businesswoman who rebuilt her empire on her own terms. And a cultural force whose impact reaches far beyond charts or ticket sales. From a kid on a Christmas tree farm, to a teenager rejected on Music Row, to the first self-made female artist billionaire, to the center of one of the most powerful fan communities in the world, Taylor Swift didn't just rise to the top. She redefined what the top even is. And for millions, her music and her journey is a reminder that reinvention is possible, resilience is powerful, and your voice can shape an entire era. This is Taylor Swift.